Hello and welcome to Wisdom Verse Audiobooks. Today we are diving into one of the most influential personal finance books ever written, The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. This book is not just about money. It is about the way we think, behave, and make decisions about wealth, success, and happiness. Through powerful stories and timeless lessons, you'll discover why financial success is often less about intelligence and more about behavior. Whether you're looking to improve your finances, build wealth, or simply understand the psychology behind money, this audiobook offers valuable insights that can change the way you see the world. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this journey through the timeless lessons of wealth, greed, and happiness. Let's begin. The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. Money affects nearly every aspect of our lives. Yet most people spend more time learning how to earn money than understanding how they think about it. In The Psychology of Money, Morgan Housel explores a simple but powerful idea. Financial success is not determined by intelligence alone. It is shaped by behavior. Through fascinating stories and timeless lessons, this book reveals why people make the financial decisions they do, how emotions influence wealth, and why long-term thinking is often the greatest advantage in building a successful life. This is not a book about complex formulas or stock market predictions. It is a book about human behavior, about greed and fear, patience and discipline, risk and opportunity, and the habits that separate lasting wealth from temporary success. The lessons in this book can help anyone, regardless of age, income, or background, make better financial decisions and build a more secure future. The core message is, wealth is behavior, not intelligence. Because mastering money is less about what you know and more about how you think, act, and make decisions over time. Let's begin our journey into the fascinating world of the psychology of money. Chapter 2. No one is crazy about money. When it comes to money, people often make decisions that seem strange to others. Some people invest aggressively. Others avoid investing completely. Some save every dollar they earn. Others prefer spending money on experiences and opportunities. From the outside, these choices may seem irrational, but Morgan Housel explains that no one is truly crazy. Every financial decision is shaped by personal experiences. The way we think about money is influenced by our childhood, family, education, culture, successes, failures, and fears. A person who lived through a financial crisis may become extremely cautious with money. Someone who grew up during economic prosperity may be more willing to take risks. Both people are responding to the world they experienced. The challenge is that we often judge others using our own experiences as the standard. But different experiences create different beliefs, and different beliefs create different financial decisions. The lesson is simple. People make financial decisions based on their own experiences, not yours. What seems unreasonable to you may make perfect sense to someone else. Because when it comes to money, no one is crazy. Everyone is simply a product of their own story. Chapter 3. Wealth is built in invisible income. Most people think wealth is created by earning more money. But true wealth is not just about how much you make. It is about how much you keep, invest, and allow to grow over time. Many people focus on increasing their income. Few focus on protecting and growing the money they already have. Morgan Housel explains that wealth is often built quietly, behind the scenes. It grows through patience, consistency, and the power of compounding. Small amounts of money, saved and invested regularly, can become life-changing wealth over time. The challenge is that compounding requires patience. Its greatest rewards are often invisible in the beginning. Many people give up too early because they expect immediate results. But wealth is rarely built overnight. It is built slowly through years of disciplined decisions. The key is to avoid unnecessary mistakes, stay focused on the long term, and allow time to do the heavy lifting. Remember, the goal is not to look wealthy. The goal is to become wealthy. The lesson of this chapter is, real wealth is not about how much money passes through your hands. It is about how much stays with you and continues growing. Because time, consistency, and patience are the true foundations of lasting wealth. Most people overestimate what they can achieve in 1 year and underestimate what they can achieve in 10 years. Chapter 4. Luck and risk. Luck and risk play a much bigger role in our lives than most people realize. When we see someone become successful, we often assume their success came entirely from hard work, talent, and intelligence. Likewise, when we see someone fail, we may believe their mistakes were the only reason. But reality is more complicated. Morgan Housel explains that every outcome is influenced by factors we can control and factors we cannot. Sometimes talented people fail because of bad timing, unexpected events, or circumstances beyond their control. At the same time, some people achieve extraordinary success partly because they were in the right place at the right time. This does not mean that effort is unimportant. Hard work, discipline, and good decisions still matter. However, recognizing the role of luck and risk helps us remain humble during success and compassionate during failure. No person's story is entirely their own creation. There are always forces working behind the scenes. The lesson is simple. Learn from both success and failure, but never assume that either tells the whole story. Luck and risk are silent partners in every financial journey. Chapter 5. Never Enough. One of the most important lessons about money is knowing when enough is enough. Many people believe that having more money will make them happier. But Morgan Housel explains that the desire for more can become a never-ending cycle. As wealth grows, expectations often grow with it. What once felt like success soon becomes ordinary, and the goalpost keeps moving further away. This is why some of the wealthiest people in history lost everything. They already had more than they needed, yet they continued taking bigger risks in pursuit of even more. The problem was not a lack of intelligence or opportunity. The problem was never defining what enough meant. There comes a point when risking what you already have for something you do not need is no longer worth it. Money should provide freedom, security, and peace of mind. But when comparison and endless ambition take control, those benefits can disappear. The lesson is simple. The ability to say, "I have enough," is one of the most powerful financial skills a person can develop. Because true wealth is not measured by how much you own. It is measured by your ability to appreciate what you already have and avoid unnecessary risks. Enough is realizing that peace of mind is worth more than chasing endless more. Chapter 6. Compounding is powerful. Compounding is one of the most powerful forces in money and investing. Yet it is often misunderstood because its results take time to become visible. Many people look at the success of investors like Warren Buffett and focus on how much money they earned. But Morgan Housel explains that Buffett's greatest advantage was not just skill, it was time. He allowed compounding to work for decades. Small gains, repeated consistently over a long period, can produce extraordinary results. The magic of compounding is not about making huge returns overnight. It is about staying patient and giving your investments enough time to grow. This principle applies to more than money. Knowledge, relationships, habits, and careers also benefit from compounding. The biggest rewards often come from small actions repeated consistently for many years. Unfortunately, many people interrupt the compounding process by chasing quick results or giving up too soon. But success is rarely built in a day. It is built slowly, one step at a time. The lesson is simple. Good outcomes come from consistency and patience, not constant action. Because the power of compounding works best when it is given time. Extraordinary results are often the product of ordinary actions repeated for a very long time. Chapter 7. Freedom. The highest dividend money pays is the ability to control your time. Many people think money is valuable because of the things it can buy. But Morgan Housel argues that the greatest benefit of wealth is independence. It is the ability to wake up and choose what you want to do, when you want to do it, and with whom you want to do it. Money creates options. It allows you to make decisions based on what matters to you instead of what others expect. This is why having control over your time is often more valuable than owning expensive possessions. A fancy car may impress people for a moment, but the freedom to spend time with family, pursue meaningful work, or simply enjoy life can last much longer. True wealth is not about showing others how much you have. It is about having the freedom to live life on your own terms. The lesson is simple. Money's greatest value is giving you control over your time. Because independence is one of the most valuable forms of wealth. The ability to do what you want, when you want, with the people you want, is the ultimate financial goal. Chapter 8. The Man in the Car Paradox. Why do people buy expensive cars, luxury watches, and designer clothes? Most believe these things will earn them admiration and respect. But Morgan Housel points out an interesting paradox. When you see someone driving a luxury car, you rarely think about the driver. Instead, you imagine how good it would feel if you owned that car yourself. People often spend money trying to impress others, yet the attention they receive is usually much less than they expect. The truth is that most people are focused on their own lives, goals, and problems. They are not thinking about us nearly as much as we think they are. This does not mean there is anything wrong with enjoying nice things. The problem arises when we seek validation through possessions. Respect, admiration, and genuine success are usually earned through character, kindness, knowledge, and integrity, not material displays. The desire to impress others can become an expensive habit, and often, the people we are trying to impress are not paying much attention at all. The lesson is simple. Do not spend money to gain approval from others, because true confidence comes from who you are, not from what you own. The wealth that matters most is the wealth that helps you live the life you want, not the wealth that simply attracts attention. Chapter 9. Wealth is what you don't see. When people think of wealth, they often picture expensive cars, luxury homes, and designer clothes. But Morgan Housel explains that true wealth is usually invisible. The money you spend can be seen by everyone. The money you save and invest often goes unnoticed. This is why it is easy to mistake spending for wealth. A person may appear rich because of what they own, while another person quietly builds financial security behind the scenes. Real wealth is not about showing others what you have. It is about having assets that provide freedom, opportunities, and peace of mind in the future. The challenge is that saving money is not exciting. There is nothing to display or show off. Yet those hidden savings create the foundation for long-term financial success. Many people focus on looking wealthy. Few focus on becoming wealthy. The lesson is simple. Money that is not spent gives you options, because true wealth is what you don't see. The greatest financial strength is not what you drive, wear, or own. It is the financial security quietly growing in the background. Chapter 10. Saving money. Many people believe that building wealth requires a high income. But Morgan Housel explains that wealth is driven more by saving than by earning. Income helps, but what truly matters is the gap between what you earn and what you spend. A person with a modest income who saves consistently can build substantial wealth over time. Meanwhile, someone with a high income may struggle financially if their spending grows just as fast. Saving is not only about preparing for future expenses. It is about creating flexibility and control over your life. Every dollar saved gives you more options, more security, and more independence. The ability to save comes less from intelligence and more from behavior. It is a habit built through discipline and patience. You do not need a specific reason to save every dollar. Sometimes the future is unpredictable. Having savings allows you to face uncertainty with confidence. The lesson is simple. Wealth is built by what you keep, not just by what you earn. Because saving creates opportunities long before you know what those opportunities will be. Money saved today becomes freedom tomorrow. Chapter 11. Reasonable, rational. Most people believe that making good financial decisions means being perfectly rational. But Morgan Housel argues that being reasonable is often more important than being rational. A rational decision may look perfect on paper. However, if it causes stress, anxiety, or makes you abandon your plan, it may not be the best choice for you. Money is deeply connected to emotions. Every person has different experiences, fears, goals, and priorities. What works for one person may not work for another. The best financial plan is not necessarily the one with the highest return. It is the one you can stick with through good times and bad. Successful investing is often less about intelligence and more about behavior. People who remain calm, patient, and consistent usually outperform those who constantly chase perfect decisions. The goal is not to make flawless choices. The goal is to make choices that allow you to stay in the game for the long term. The lesson is simple. Being reasonable with money is more valuable than trying to be perfectly rational. Because financial success comes from consistency, not perfection. A good plan you can follow is better than a perfect plan you abandon. Chapter 12, Surprise. The world is driven by events that are impossible to predict. Most people believe that the future can be forecast with enough information, data, or expertise. But Morgan Housel reminds us that history is full of surprises. Major economic events, market crashes, technological breakthroughs, and life-changing opportunities often arrive unexpectedly. The biggest stories that shape our lives are usually the ones nobody saw coming. This is why financial plans should not rely on perfect predictions. Instead, they should be built to withstand uncertainty. A good investor does not need to know exactly what will happen next. They only need to accept that surprises are inevitable. The future will always contain risks, opportunities, and events beyond our imagination. The challenge is not predicting every surprise. The challenge is preparing for the fact that surprises will happen. This is why having savings, patience, and a long-term mindset is so important. The lesson is simple. Expect the unexpected. Because the most important events in life and money are often the ones nobody can predict. Financial success comes not from forecasting the future perfectly, but from being prepared for uncertainty. Chapter 13, Room for Error. One of the most important principles in finance is leaving room for error. No one can predict the future with certainty. No matter how smart, experienced, or successful someone is, unexpected events can always happen. Morgan Housel explains that the most successful people and businesses often survive because they prepare for things going wrong. They do not rely on perfect outcomes. Instead, they build margins of safety into their plans. Having extra savings, avoiding excessive debt, and keeping realistic expectations are all forms of room for error. These buffers may seem unnecessary when times are good, but they become invaluable when life takes an unexpected turn. Many financial failures occur not because people are wrong all the time, but because they leave no room for being wrong even once. The future is uncertain. The best strategy is not trying to predict every outcome. It is making sure you can survive outcomes you never expected. The lesson is simple. Plan for uncertainty. Because resilience matters more than precision. A little room for error today can prevent a major disaster tomorrow. Chapter 14, You'll Change. One of the biggest challenges in life is that people change over time. The goals, priorities, and dreams you have today may not be the same 10 or 20 years from now. Morgan Housel explains that many financial mistakes happen because we assume our future selves will think exactly like we do today. But people evolve. Our careers change. Our relationships change. Our interests, values, and ambitions change. Yet we often make long-term financial decisions based on who we are right now. The problem is not that change happens. The problem is refusing to expect it. Successful financial planning leaves room for flexibility. It recognizes that future versions of ourselves may want different things. The smartest plan is not one that locks you into a single path forever. It is one that allows you to adapt as life changes. The lesson is simple. Plan for change. Because the person you become tomorrow may not be the person you are today. Financial success is not about predicting your future perfectly. It is about giving yourself the freedom to adjust when life inevitably changes. Chapter 15, Nothing's Free. Everything in finance has a price, but that price is not always paid with money. Sometimes it is paid with uncertainty, fear, doubt, patience, or volatility. Morgan Housel explains that many people want the rewards of investing without accepting the costs that come with it. They want high returns without market declines. They want wealth without risk. They want success without setbacks. But every reward has a price. In investing, volatility is often the price you pay for long-term growth. The problem is that people see market fluctuations as a penalty. In reality, they are part of the admission fee. Successful investors understand this. They accept temporary discomfort in exchange for future rewards. They know that uncertainty is not a sign that something is wrong. It is simply part of the process. The lesson is simple. Nothing valuable comes free. Because every financial reward requires paying a price. The key is learning to recognize that price and deciding whether it is worth paying. Wealth is not earned by avoiding every cost. It is earned by accepting the right ones. Chapter 16. You and Me. One of the biggest mistakes people make with money is assuming that everyone plays the same game. Morgan Housel explains that different people have different goals, timelines, experiences, and responsibilities. What may be the right financial decision for one person can be completely wrong for another. A young investor saving for retirement may take risks that make sense for their long-term goals. Someone nearing retirement may prioritize stability and protection instead. Problems arise when we compare our decisions to people who are playing a different game. We see others making money, taking risks, or following certain strategies and assume we should do the same. But their circumstances may be very different from ours. Successful financial decisions are not about copying others. They are about understanding your own goals and making choices that fit your life. The best investment strategy is not the one that works for someone else. It is the one that helps you achieve your own objectives. The lesson is simple. Do not compare your financial journey to someone else's, because everyone is playing a different game. The key to success is knowing which game you are playing and staying focused on your own goals. Chapter 17. The Seduction of Pessimism. Bad news gets more attention than good news. Fear spreads faster than optimism. And when it comes to money, people often find it easier to believe that things will get worse rather than better. Morgan Housel explains that pessimism sounds intelligent because it focuses on risks, dangers, and problems. Optimism, on the other hand, can sound naive. But history shows that despite recessions, wars, crises, and setbacks, human progress continues. Businesses grow, technology improves, living standards rise. The world has always faced challenges, yet people continue to innovate, adapt, and move forward. This does not mean ignoring risks. Risks are real and should be respected. But focusing only on negative outcomes can prevent us from seeing opportunities. Successful investors understand that progress is often slow and difficult to notice. Yet over time, it creates extraordinary results. The lesson is simple. Respect risks, but never underestimate human resilience and progress. Because the future is built not only by avoiding problems, but also by creating solutions. Optimism is not believing that everything will be perfect. It is believing that improvement is possible. Chapter 18. When you'll believe anything. People's views about money are often shaped by their personal experiences. What we believe is not always based on facts. It is often based on what we have seen, lived through, and experienced ourselves. Morgan Housel explains that two people can witness the same event and come away with completely different conclusions. Someone who grew up during economic hardship may be cautious with money for life. Someone who experienced rapid growth and prosperity may be more willing to take risks. Neither person is necessarily wrong. They are simply interpreting the world through their own experiences. The challenge is that we often assume our experiences represent how the world really works. But our personal history is only a small part of a much larger story. Good financial decisions require humility. They require recognizing that our perspective is limited. The world is bigger than our own experiences. The lesson is simple. Be careful about turning personal experiences into universal truths. Because what feels obvious to you may not be true for everyone else. Understanding different perspectives can help you make wiser financial decisions and avoid costly assumptions. Chapter 19. All together now. Money is complicated because it combines psychology, emotions, luck, risk, uncertainty, and personal experiences. There is no single formula that guarantees financial success. Different people succeed in different ways. Some build wealth through patience, others through discipline. Some benefit from luck. Others overcome difficult circumstances through persistence. Morgan Housel explains that the key lessons of money are connected. Saving matters. Patience matters. Humility matters. Flexibility matters. And understanding your own behavior matters most of all. Financial success is not about mastering spreadsheets or predicting markets. It is about developing habits that help you make good decisions consistently over time. The best investors are not always the smartest. Often, they are the ones who remain calm, adaptable, and focused on the long term. Money is not just a mathematical skill. It is a behavioral skill, and the behaviors that lead to success are often simple, but not always easy. The lesson is simple. Long-term success comes from combining many good habits together. Because wealth is rarely built by one big decision. It is built by hundreds of small decisions repeated over a lifetime. Chapter 20. Final Thoughts. Money is not just about numbers. It is about behavior. Throughout this journey, we learned that wealth is built through patience, discipline, humility, flexibility, and good decisions repeated over time. We learned that luck and risk influence outcomes. That enough is often better than more. That freedom is one of the greatest benefits money can provide, and that true wealth is usually invisible. The most important lesson is that financial success is not reserved for the smartest people. It belongs to those who understand themselves, those who remain patient during uncertainty, those who focus on long-term goals instead of short-term emotions. Money will always involve risk, surprises, and change, but the principles that create lasting wealth remain remarkably simple. Save consistently, think long-term, avoid unnecessary risks, stay humble, and remember that the goal of money is not to impress others. The goal is to build a life that gives you freedom and peace of mind. The lesson is simple. Mastering money is less about what you know and more about how you behave. Because in the end, wealth is not measured by what you own. It is measured by the life your money allows you to live. Thank you for listening. The psychology of money teaches us that financial success is not about being the smartest person in the room. It is about behavior. Patience, discipline, humility, and long-term thinking matter more than predicting the future. True wealth is not what others see. It is the freedom, security, and peace of mind that money can provide. Thank you for joining this audiobook journey. If you enjoyed this summary, don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more life-changing books and timeless wisdom. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, keep investing in yourself.